All right, so I love a good thriller, and you sent this book review over, and this one sounds like it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, this one looks really good.
The Assistant by Freida McFadden.
Right.
And it's the first in a trilogy.
Trilogy, yeah.
Buckle up, right? We might be here for a while.
Could be.
And this review is from Entre Teclas y Tinta, a Spanish language blog.
Nice.
So, sometimes a different perspective can be cool, right? Like looking at something through, eyes that maybe don't see these things every day can give us a new view.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
So we've got this protagonist, Millie, and she lands a job with this wealthy family, the Winchesters.
The Winchesters.
Classic thriller territory, right? But here's the thing. Millie is an ex-con.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
So what does she do?
Right away, you're like,
I know. I'm already suspicious.
I know, me too.
And so the reviewer was pointing out that, she's not the stereotypical ex-con. It's not like, what we think of when we think of somebody who's been in prison.
Sure.
So that makes it even more mysterious. Like, what did she do? Why was she there?
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, is this part of her story? Is this going to come up later? Like, is this foreshadowing in some way?
Or is she really a good person?
Yeah.
Is she reformed? Like, what's going on?
Exactly. We don't know. And so I think that's what's really smart about this setup.
Yeah.
The author's playing with our expectations from the very beginning.
I like that.
Yeah.
Playing with our expectations. And that's something that I think comes up again and again in this review.
Yeah.
Because the story is told entirely from Millie's point of view.
Interesting.
So we're stuck with her.
We are.
And that makes it even more difficult because what if she's not a reliable narrator?
Right.
We're only seeing things through her eyes, so how do we know what's really going on?
And that's a real challenge for an author, right? To create suspense when we only have access to one perspective, especially one that might be skewed.
Yeah.
So the author has to be really careful about giving us enough information to keep us engaged, but also holding back just enough to keep us guessing. And that's a tricky balance to strike.
Yeah, and I think the reviewer was pointing out that the author does a good job of this.
They did.
Yeah.
They praised her skill in doing that, yeah.
So that's promising, right?
Oh, yeah.
If they feel like it's done well, then it's, I feel like we're in good hands.
Yeah, I would trust that assessment, yeah.
So we've got Millie, an ex-con.
Right.
We've got these Winchester she's working for.
Right.
And specifically, there's this Nina character.
Nina.
She's the lady of the house, and apparently she's a real piece of work.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
What does she do?
So according to the reviewer, Nina is constantly making Millie's life difficult.
Oh, right.
And it almost seems like she's doing it on purpose.
Interesting.
So now we've got this other layer of suspicion, right? Is Nina just a demanding employer?
Right.
Or is there something more sinister going on? Is she, trying to set Millie up? Is she trying to frame her?
Right. Is Millie being played?
Like, what's happening? And we don't know because, again, we're stuck in Millie's head.
We are.
And so we only know what she knows.
Right.
And that might not be the whole
It
truth.
might just be a small piece of the puzzle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, this is where I think the thriller aspect really starts to come in, right?
Yeah.
Because we're starting to doubt everything.
Yeah.
Starting to question everyone's motives.
Absolutely. And that's what a good thriller writer does, right?
Yeah.
They use these interpersonal dynamics to create this web of tension and suspicion.
It's so good.
And we, as readers, we get caught up in it.
Oh, yeah.
We start to feel like we're right there with Millie, feeling vulnerable and unsure of who to trust.
I think that's what makes thrillers so exciting to read, right?
Totally.
It's that feeling of not knowing what's going to happen next.
Yeah, and who to trust and who's on your side.
And also feeling like you're in danger even though you're safe on your couch.
It's a safe way to experience danger, right?
Exactly. It's like a safe thrill ride.
Right, exactly.
So yeah, I'm already hooked.
Me too.
I'm like, okay, what's next?
Yeah, I want to know more.
Tell me more.
I want to know more about Millie. I want to know more about the Winchesters. What's their deal? Like, what's going on in that house?
What's going on in that house?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's dive a little deeper and see what else we can find out about this book.
Let's do it.
The Assistant. Okay, so one thing that the reviewer mentioned that I thought was really interesting was how the author kind of sprinkles in these little details
Oh, yeah.
that seem unimportant at first,
Yeah.
but then later on they turn out to be like crucial clues.
Yes.
And it's like one of those things where you're reading and you're like, wait a minute,
Right?
I remember that.
Exactly.
from like chapter 3 or something.
Yeah.
And it all kind of comes
It
together.
all clicks.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my gosh, she was setting us up this whole time.
I know. I love that.
It's so satisfying
Yeah.
as a reader when that happens.
It's like that aha moment.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think it speaks to the author's skill as a writer. You know, she's not just throwing in random details to confuse us.
Right.
She's carefully planting these seeds
Yes.
that will blossom later on.
I like that.
Yeah.
That blossom.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing. Yeah.
Exactly.
And so the reviewer also mentioned that the book is really fast-paced
Uh-huh.
and addictive.
Yes.
And they talk about how the short chapters and the cliffhangers just make it impossible to put down.
Yes.
Like, you have to know what happens next.
Right. Like you're on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Exactly.
Ah.
You can't stop reading.
And I feel like that goes hand in hand with those little clues, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Because it's like you get that little taste of something
Yeah.
and you're like, wait, what was that?
You need more.
And then you have to keep reading to find out.
Exactly. Yeah. And the short chapters and the cliffhangers, they just keep you moving forward.
Yeah.
You're just like propelled through the story.
Yeah.
It's like a page turner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So we've got this unreliable narrator.
Right.
We've got these suspicious characters.
Yes.
And we've got a plot that's full of twists and turns.
Sounds like a winner to me.
I know, right?
What more could you ask for?
It's like everything you want in a thriller.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All the ingredients are there.
And the reviewer actually gave the book a really glowing recommendation.
They did.
Yeah, they said that they were completely captivated.
I can see why.
I know.
It sounds really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is just the first book in a trilogy
Right.
makes it even more intriguing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because it's like, we're just getting started.
Yeah, we're just scratching the surface of this world and these characters.
Exactly, and I love that.
Yeah.
And speaking of characters, the reviewer hinted at some pretty shocking revelations about
Oh.
Millie's past.
Okay.
So we know she's an ex-con,
Right.
but we don't know why.
We don't know the details.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the reviewer was like, just wait
Mm.
until you find out why she was in prison.
I'm intrigued.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't give any spoilers.
Right.
So we don't know what it is.
We're left hanging.
We are. But I'm so curious now. Like, what could it be? Was she wrongly convicted?
Maybe.
Did she do something really bad?
Or was it a crime of passion?
Ooh, a crime of passion.
Like she was protecting someone.
Yeah, or revenge.
Oh, revenge. That's always a good one.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many possibilities.
So many possibilities. And I think that's what makes it so compelling.
Yes.
You know, we're constantly trying to figure her out. Like,
Yeah.
what's her deal?
Yeah, is she a good person deep down?
Right.
Or is she not?
Is she hiding something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the reviewer even hinted that Millie might be the real danger in the story,
Oh, wow.
which just blew my mind.
That's a twist.
I know, it's like, what?
It makes you question everything you've read up to that point.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
It's like, was everything we saw a lie?
Right? Was she manipulating us the whole time?
I know.
Oh my God.
So good.
That's so good.
Yeah, it really makes you think, huh? Like, how much of what we see is real
Right.
and how much is just, a story that someone is telling us?
Especially in a thriller like this, right?
Right.
Where the author is kind of playing with our perceptions.
Yeah, and like you said before, playing with our expectations.
Exactly.
I'm already, like I said, I want to read this book now,
Yeah.
and I'm going to be like looking at everybody sideways. Like, wait a minute, are you?
Who's gonna betray who?
I know.
Yeah.
And those twists,
Yes.
the reviewer mentioned like some huge revelations
Yeah.
that come out. And like they said midway through the book,
Oh, wow.
it just makes me think like, whoa, okay, so everything I thought I knew
Right.
is wrong.
Yeah, is it all gonna get flipped on its head?
Yeah, and I love that.
Me too.
It's so exciting.
It keeps you guessing.
Yeah.
That's what makes a good thriller.
Yeah.
You're constantly like reevaluating everything you thought you knew.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay, so this has been awesome.
it has.
I have learned so much about this book.
Me too.
I'm so excited to read it.
I am too.
And I think we've done a great job
I think so.
really taking apart.
Yeah,
What makes this book tick?
absolutely. We went beyond just like, the surface level plot
Yes.
and really got into like the elements that make it so compelling.
The why.
Yeah.
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 Why is this a good thriller?
Yeah, and I think we found some answers.
I think we did.
Yeah.
So to our listener
Yes.
who's maybe thinking about picking up The Assistant,
Right.
I would say do it.
Definitely do it.
You're going to love it.
You will not regret
It's
it.
going to be so good.
Buckle up.
Yeah, buckle up.
It's going to be a wild ride.
And yeah, happy reading.
Happy reading.